All right, I'm here with Jerel McNeal, Marquette legend, absolute legend, not just at Marquette, Big East as well. Big East Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All Big East. I could go on and on, but thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem, Nathan, man. Thanks for having me.
You obviously helped usher in Marquette to the Big East. I don't know if you could just briefly talk a little bit just about your decision to go to Marquette and how the Big East played a role. Obviously, that was your first year, so the first 4 years of Marquette basketball in the Big East was your squads.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, man, for me, just as a young kid coming out of high school, it played a really big role to me. Even to this day, I tell people about that. I'll say the two biggest things that kind of sold me on making my decision coming out of high school and getting ready to go to the college level was my relationship, obviously, with Coach Crean at Marquette. That was probably one of the biggest and strongest reasons why I ended up there. But the second part of that was just the new realignment of the conference. And it was actually, like you said, it was going to kick off. We went into the Big East, our inaugural season, and the Big East was my freshman year. And just from a competitive standpoint, is kind of the makeup of who I was and who I've always been. It was that was a big part of it for me. I had people a lot of doubt on me. I was a highly recruited player, but not the most highly recruited player coming out of high school. So one of the things that I did want to do was just try to get an opportunity to go up against the best night in and night out. And I knew playing in this conference was going to be a 16 team conference, an absolute monster conference,
Yeah.
man. It was the best, probably the best basketball conference in my opinion that had ever been assembled. I wanted to be a part of that and see where I stacked up against the rest of the competition, pretty much the best of the best, man. And I got a really great opportunity to do that going to Marquette and jumping in as our inaugural year in the Big East.
Yeah, definitely. And you had mentioned obviously Crean and your coaches, obviously Buzz Williams as well. I know you're kind of getting back into coaching as well right now, but how much did they mold
Yep.
you, and help you, to have two coaches like that during your 4-year career, great coaches, how did they help mold you, as a player, a person, and now, even as a coach?
Oh man, it's hard to even try to put a sort of a price tag on that type of thing, man. But I was like you said, I was unbelievably fortunate. Like I said, I had a really strong relationship with Coach Crean prior to even me stepping foot on Marquette, and he kind of had my back from the start when I was even in high school, and our relationship just continued to grow. And even with Buzz as well, with him stepping in, it was really cool for Buzz for me to see it because he was somebody who was still really young, at least in the coaching spectrum of things at the time. He got a chance to spend a first year with us and as an assistant for Coach Crean, and ended up getting the head job going into our senior year. So we got a chance to build what I would say is a little bit of a different relationship that I have with him than a lot of his players have, especially if he's your head coach the entire time. Me and him were really close when he was an assistant. He used to be on my ass every day constantly. He kind of used to get on my nerves, but I kind of got why he was doing it. He was actually obviously out of his element as too, being a Texas guy up in Milwaukee, had just come off a head coaching gig and things like that too. So he was trying to figure things out as well, and with the new conference and the new situation and stuff too, man. But when he got the job as a head coach too, my respect grew for him even larger, man. Not just about the X's and O's and basketball things of it, man. Just how much he tries to have an impact on his guys, and just life lessons. You know what I mean? And teaching us things about the game, teaching us things about life through the game. I should say that. And I've been really fortunate that both really good coaches. Coach Crean is a mastermind. I tell people that all the time. That dude does not stop. His basketball 24/7 with him all the time, and he's always looking for ways to get better and to learn, and that's one of the biggest things that I kind of picked up with him. And Buzz is just an absolute grinder, man. He taught me a lot about work ethic and what it takes to be great, and just kind of taking whatever your edge is, and enhancing it on the basketball court in their life. So I've been really fortunate to have some really great coaches.
Absolutely. And great coaches, obviously great teams, great players. You look at your 4 years, making the NCAA tournament all 4 years, again, especially as a new member of the Big East, I think it's just sometimes goes unnoticed. Um, you know, How important, not even important, but what maybe do you remember most about when, when I'm talking about the NCAA tournament? Your first 2 years, you guys make it, you don't get out of that first round, but then to get that victory your junior year, to kind of continue not just a personal success you had statistically, but to have that success in the tournament as well. How much was that? How much did that mean to you? As a leader, your junior senior year.
Oh man, it was at that point I will say this, and this is just kind of like the timeline that it all went on for us. When we got there, we were going into the Big East, and I think it's safe to say that not only a little bit in the locker room, even with our coaching staff, but I'm sure with the fans and the university and everybody had this great following. Everybody was kind of holding their breath a little bit going into the Big East because we were coming off of a couple years out from a really good the Dwayne Wade Final Four team. '03 with him and Trav and all of those great guys and Rob Jackson and Scott Merritt and Terry Sanders, and they had a really good team, but they were able to make their run and they were still playing in the Conference USA. Uh, D Wade went to the NBA, and kind of like the makeup of the team changed a little bit. It was more so Trav's team at that point in time, but Trav had a couple tough injuries. I know, especially his senior year, but even I think he may have got nicked in his junior year, but who knows? That dude's always hurt. But either way, we hadn't been to the NCAA tournament in 2 years since they had made the run. So coming into that my freshman year, I felt like it was a little bit of pressure and everybody kind of holding their breath. And man, we came out and that was just always one of our goals, year in year out, is that we wanted to make Marquette a staple and get there consistently. And we felt like if we could get that consistency, that we eventually break the mold and get through it and start making deeper and deeper runs. My freshman year, we lost to Alabama. Novak missed a three, and I think we were in San Diego was the site, and he missed a three to pretty much steal the game. We probably had a chance to win after being down by a lot. My sophomore year was actually the year that I broke my hand, so I didn't get a chance to play in the Big East tournament or the NCAA tournament, and we got throttled by Michigan State in the first round. And then coming back, like you said, those last 2 years, man, it was pretty much all or nothing for us, man. One of the biggest things for me, Wes and Dominique, who was like the core of our team at the time, was that, man, we wanted to make sure before we got out of Marquette, that we tried to do something special. And for us, we felt like, bare minimum, with our talent in the group that we had the opportunity to make a Final Four run. So just getting them first couple wins, first win or two in the NCAA tournament, it's a special feeling, man. And there's nothing like the NCAA tournament. Still probably the Super Bowl of sports, especially on the college level, without a doubt. But just even with pro sports, man, it's nothing quite like the NCAA tournament. They're all great experiences.
Yeah. No, definitely. And not just obviously playing in the Big East at that time. And I still think obviously today too, I think the way the Big East rebooted, it's still one of the best basketball conferences. But especially
Yep.
during your time, even before the NCAA tournament, you know, what is it like for you? I mean, as a fan growing up watching the Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden, there's so much talent, but I just feel like the matchups get that much bigger. The lights are brighter. What for you as a player was that like stepping on the floor against the best competition and playing in Madison Square Garden?
Oh man, it's special, and it's one of the things that me and I'll say all my former teammates still talk about to this day is just just how much fun and how special that Big East tournament atmosphere is, being right there and in Times Square, getting the chance to play at the Garden, and you get an opportunity to hop on and ride the freight elevator up, and I mean, you see, I'm not sure if how many people have actually seen the kind of like the tunnels and how it is in the back of the Garden, but you got all the pictures on the wall, all the people that's come through there and performed there. You know what I mean? It's entertainers, circus acts, man. It's unbelievable, man. Sports events, all types of stuff. And that's kind of like the bill of it. It's the most famous arena in the world. So man, once you get there, it's just that feeling you get once you walk into that gym, like, man, this is probably one of the biggest stages that I'll ever get an opportunity to play on, regardless of where your career takes you. You know what I mean? Like the Big East tournament is a special platform. It's a special place, and it's in my opinion the best makeup of any conference tournament in the country, man. And I just remember that was just kind of like my thing, man. It was just awesome the first time you get there. early, and you get a win, and you get to go and walk around the rest of the day and see all the highlights on all the big screens in Times Square. So the biggest thing is just to try to keep winning, so you get the opportunity to do it the next day, man. But it's a special environment, and still to this day, man, just one of the best events as far as college conference postseason tournament. So,
Let me just
yep, no problem.
got a crying baby.
Hey man, I know a lot about that.
Yeah,
I know a lot about that.
Yeah, I used to, I first started doing is edit this stuff out. I'm like, why am I going to edit this out? Roll the tape.
Yeah, yeah, roll the tape. Yeah,
Babies are real.
yeah,
So if you have a couple more minutes, you don't mind if I do the,
yeah, for
2 minutes, 2 minutes in the Big East.
Nope, let's do it.
All right. So again, here with Marquette legend Jerel McNeal. Hardest arena that you had to play in within the Big East in terms of crowd noise and heckling?
That's tough, man. Oh, that's tough. I would say for me, man, and this is like I said, it's changed a little bit since then, but man, it was always hard playing at Freedom Hall. My God, when you play Louisville at Freedom Hall, you pull up to the horse stables outside, and you go in, man. And people in Kentucky, man, they love basketball, and the gym was. I just remember they used to always pack it out. It seemed like every game was sold out, and God, he used to feel like it was like 100 degrees in the gym every time. I used to remember always just being overly hot and tired whenever we played at Louisville. But man, those are also some great battles, and for me, that was probably the toughest place we ever played.
Definitely. You went off on a lot of people, obviously, with your career,
Yeah.
but was there a team that you just felt like you look back and you just feel like you got up a little extra special for that team and you put some numbers on them?
I would say if I had to think about it, I would say traditionally, I played well against Seton Hall. I felt like a lot. I always played pretty well against Seton Hall, and I usually, for the most part, I usually won. I didn't lose that many times, but and they had some good teams and some really good players during the time. But for whatever the reason was, I guess I don't know if it's more the style of play to us, but we always used to have a little bit of a running gun type games to those
Yeah,
guys, and I was always kind of able to fill up the stat sheet a little bit. But I had some pretty good success against Seton Hall, I would say.
definitely. And you obviously not just offensively, defensively, one of the best defensive guys in the Big East in a long time. I put you up there. Another guy I actually talked to, obviously John Lenahan. He was an absolute beast on the
Yeah,
defensive end.
yeah,
But
absolutely, legend.
was there a guy that probably a guy that you remember, one of the most difficult guys you kind of dreaded? Even not dreaded, but was just was a challenge. You play with so many guys within the Big East. It's hard to pick one, but are there a couple that
Yeah,
come to mind?
and yeah, and you're right about that. But I'll probably take a little bit of a different route with this one, just because of me, it was so different. And like you mentioned, um, I won the defensive player of the year my sophomore year at school. So uh, I would say I was probably the best perimeter defender in the league, but man, I never won another defensive player of the year after that because the beat came to school. So Big Hashim came to school, and just even before him, man, we used to have some teams that had some really, really good big guys. Aaron Gray at Pitt
Yeah.
with him and the other big guy. I can't remember his name. I think it might have been Kendall. I think he might have been like Canadian or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, they had some really big guys, some really good schemes where they had guards that would get up under you and press you, and kind of funnel everything toward the basket, man. And those guys were so massive, and they changed the game so much with their presence around the rim, man. It was always difficult for a guy like me just because I was more of a slasher guy that liked to attack the basket. So, you kind of got to be prepared for that when you got somebody who's an actual, kind of like a eraser at the back end of things. You got to be ready to make the next pass, the next play, or try to find some type of creative way to get the shot up off over them. And but perimeter wise, I will say one was good, and I always had a lot of respect for him. He was maybe a year or two younger than me at St. John's, but Paris Horn was a good perimeter defender, and he reminded me a little bit of myself as well too. Man, good offensive player as well, man. But he could get down and guard. He was wide. He was strong. He's close to my size, man. So he used to give me a little bit of trouble as well.
Awesome. Was there a guy for you kind of growing up or even in high school that, you maybe not looked up to, but was a guy you loved watching within the Big East that came before you?
Man, I'll give you two, and this is I guess this will probably outdate some people, but one of them is I think you had him on already. Man, Troy Bell was a monster. To
Oh yeah.
watch him at BC in college, man, I'm not sure about that. Like you said, I know a lot of people now don't do their research and know the history. Obviously, he played in the league and stuff for a while too. But man,
Yeah.
in college, Troy Bell was an absolute monster. I'll tell you one of my other favorite players before I got to college, Julius Page.
Okay. Yep.
Julius Page.
Beast.
Man, he was an absolute beast. He used to rock the one sleeve under his shirt, man, and he was swagged out with it, man. He was a killer too, though. I enjoyed watching both of those guys play before I got there, and then, like you said, man, it was just always a really great conference and great tradition, man. So they always had a ton of great gritty players, especially on the guard side.
Definitely. And then, last question, you know, you got to pick one to make a free throw so you don't have to run at practice. Who are you picking? Tom Crean or Buzz Williams?
Woo! That's a tough one. Damn, we might be running. Uh, uh, I'm gonna go Buzz. I'm
All
gonna go
right.
Buzz.
All right.
But Buzz might make one. He might make one.
I
I don't
love
know, but I don't know if Coach Crean gonna make it. Coach Crean never. Coach Crean used to always pump fake. He'd show you the mechanics and always pump fake. So I never got a great look at what the actual shot looked like. So
I
I'm gonna
like
go
it. Just
Buzz.
pump fake and then stop, right? And then, and then you
Yeah,
can go to
yeah.
the next drill.
Can't never, can't never say it's broken if you don't show them the whole thing.
That's true. That's true. I love it.